Today we are going to put all of that onto that. Join me, won't you? Hello my friends, and welcome to Tom's Tinkering and Adventures. Today we are here in my Global Domination headquarters, my garage, and we are going to be working on my friend's KTM. He dropped this off a couple days ago, and he wants me to get a dual sport kit installed on this bike. So that means it is going to have a brake light and turn signals and a horn and all the associated switch gear for that. This bike did not come with all that sort of stuff. It has a headlight and a tail light. So it's wired for those, but not for the rest of the stuff, because it has a license plate. So we need to get this thing legal for street use. I spooned on a couple of new tires for him here as well, and I had a few other things installed, but today we're going to cover the installation of this dual sport kit because I have never done this before. Does appear to have some sort of instructions here, which I'll probably throw out. We have turn signals for the back, a horn, a flasher for the turn signals themselves. Here's a brake switch. Here's a mirror. That's probably pretty useless. And this looks like it's our turn signal and high beam sort of and horn switch, and an on-off kill switch. We're also installing a skid plate, which I think this is just a factory one. I'm just putting it on. That's not really too big of a deal. And this is the tail light that has a tail and a brake light. So let's get started. First thing I'm probably going to do is take the seat off and take the tank off. I've never worked on this KTM before, but probably similar to, you can't see under here. Sorry about that. But there you go. There is a bolt right there that takes the seat off, 8mm. And once that comes off, we'll see about getting the tank off. Let's get started. Seat came off just as I said, and one bolt. For the tank, you have one bolt right here. It's also 8mm. There is a plug right here for the fuel injection. And then there is a fuel line right here. Hopefully you can see this. There's a little quick disconnect. You push in this and that'll pull apart. And I'm hoping that that's all that we need to do. Let's take another look. And the tank should come right off. Let me set the camera down and I'll double check everything and let you know. Okay, so I lied. There's two more bolts. There's one here, goes into this tank shroud, and then one of course on the other side. And now the tank comes right off, even with one hand. There you go. Okay, so now I'm going to open up all the packages here. What we're going to end up doing is we're going to put, and I'm going to apologize for the light here, the door open, enjoying the sunny day, first sunny day we've had in a while. So I'm going to put the high beam turn signal switch here, which means I'm going to relocate this one, and then I'm going to put the on-off switch over here next to the start switch. And then I'm going to have to figure out, because this bike has a headlight switch already, so I might have to just eliminate that entire circuit out of here. But we'll figure it out. All right, I've stripped off a few things here already. Headlight, the side panels, the rear fender. I did that to get the brake or tail light off, and then this side cover. And I've laid out the wiring harness. This is a pretty nice kit. The wiring diagram is actually pretty decent here. It shows where everything goes, and I wire this directly into the battery and then hook everything else up, and it should work. So now I just have to try to make it look decent, and then I have to decide what I'm going to do with the original wiring harness, which this is for the tail light here. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to follow that, and I'm going to remove this switch up on the front, the original one, because we won't be needing any of that. So that'll be the first thing I'm going to do, is I'm going to start cutting some of these zip ties and trying to trace that. Hopefully it is all by itself and I don't have to separate wire looms here. So I'm going to get hot on that, and I'll get back to you and let you know what I find out. All right, so after laying this thing on here, I decided on a route for it, try to get it in here along some of the other wiring harness. It's right there. And then underneath here, following all these other wires. And I have all the majority of this main stuff up here in the front. So now what I need to do is start moving some of this stuff around so I can put that control switch here, and then find a place to mount the horn, probably down in here, and the flasher relay. I decided on leaving this original switchgear in here for now, just because, I don't know, I'm going to have to probably reutilize this connector for this headlight, because this is not a standard high-low beam headlight. I might look and see if there's a way I can adapt it over, but obviously it's a little bit different setup here. So I'll see if I can figure out a way to make this thing work on the high-low beam setting on here. I found the same thing with the tail light. Let's see. This is the tail light brake light connector that I get with the kit, and there's the pins I get with the brake light that he'd like to use here. So I'm either going to have to dig around in my stash, and hopefully I can find a connector and we can wire that in here, or something else. We'll figure it out. And I'm also going to have to find out which one of these is tail light and which one of these is brake light. There's no for sure way till I get everything hooked up. So in the meantime, I'm going to move this. We'll get the control module on here and wire that in and see if we can get a few other things hooked up, and I'll show you where we're at. All right, at this point I have hooked up the horn. I stuck it right on here where this speedometer, odometer deal is mounted. I stuck a couple of turn signals on here just to test the system. And we got this installed. And I hooked us up to power here. So what we should do is turn on the juice here. Power. This should power on the whole outfit. And all right, we have a horn. And we have a left turn in the front. We have a right turn in the front. So I could probably assume the turn signals in the back work as well. I open them up, but they're not plug and play. I have to crimp some wires. So at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to clean up where some of this wiring is all at, and decide what I'm going to do with these turn signals. These are supposed to mount into hand guards, but he's not using the hand guards that these mount into. So maybe I can mount them into the headlight shell. I'll have to make some cuts, but that'll be the neatest. And I have to find a place to mount this. Yeah, maybe right there, maybe into that other hole there. Let's see, something like that. We'll figure it out. Zip tie this whole mess up out of the way. That's for the headlight. So I looked at this headlight, and I think it does have a high and a low beam built into it. So maybe we're not so bad off. I'll see if I can figure out. All I'll have to do is put some spade terminals on where these are. This should be neutral, and that should be our low beam. That should be our high beam. Should be. We'll see if we can get it all worked out. Oh, and I have to hook up this brake light as well. our brake light switch. Where in the hell is that at? There it is. So what that is that is a replacement, it's a pressure switch that replaces the banjo bolt, which you maybe can just see down in there, maybe. Right where my finger's at. There it is. So I have to take that out, replace that with this. And I'll have to bleed the brakes after that as well. So I'm gonna install that. That hooks up right here. I have to figure out where to route that. We're getting close though. Okay, so at this point I've got the rear brake light switch installed. I routed the wire up here, plugged it into the harness. Zip tied some of the harness in with the existing wiring harnesses here. This is installed. This is the original engine kill switch, and this is the original engine starter switch. So I put the on-off for the dual sport kit here. I don't know if this is going to kill the engine or not. I don't know if it's tied in on that. I don't think it is. I don't know how it could be, but the system on, horn, of course. I have rerouted some of these wires a little bit and zip tied them up in here. I tested the headlight over here with my battery to ensure that we have a high and a low beam, and it appears that it does. I don't know if I can do this with one hand or not. Let's see here. Definitely wasn't prepared for this. Y'all caught me off guard. All right, so low beam, and then switch over to this terminal for high beam. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some spade terminals on the existing item here. So I'll cut those off and crimp on some spade terminals, and we'll hook that headlight up, and I will cut the slots in it for the turn signals right here. I'm hoping I can do that anyway. Guess I'll try to put them on the side of the headlight shell up here. We'll see how that looks. Now, anytime I have a motorcycle that I end up trashing out, parting out, I never get rid of stuff. I got all this wire, and look what I found in there. And that should plug directly into here. All right. I have already figured out what wires go where. That's the tail light, that's the brake light. The other one is a ground. So now all I have to do is hook this onto this. So I'll splice that in there. And then we will have a tail light and a brake light. We're getting there. Okay, we've made a lot of progress here, and I kind of skipped out on showing you some of it here. So turn signals are installed. All the wiring is tucked back right in here. And I put some signals on the front, on the headlight here. So let's turn the juice on. We have a tail light. Let me operate the brake light. There you go, brake light. As you can see, there's a license plate light there as well. And we have a left turn, right turn, right turn. Now the only thing that is not operational on here is the headlight. There's low beam, high beam. For some reason, we don't have power coming into this thing, and I don't know why. And my thoughts are something's not right in this switch. The headlight works, obviously. We tested that. Everything else operates. Horn. And I did confirm this does not turn anything off on the engine. All it shuts off is the dual sport kit. So at this point, and I still have to snug up these wires in here as well. But I don't want to do anything with that until I get this headlight operational. So we're at a standstill for now. It's getting late at night. I kind of had to split this up into a couple because I had some honeydews in the middle. I was painting. So let me think about it, do a little bit of research, and see if I can't figure out why this headlight is not operating. And we'll get back. All right, let's see what we got here. Awesome. So it didn't take long to figure out. Once I took this apart and I used my multimeter and I started running the wires, I realized that we didn't have any power coming down to the headlight here. This thing is probably set up, since this is a Tusk, is the name brand here, Tusk. Wiring harness is probably set up to run their headlight. So you had to do a little bit of cobbling here. So what I did is let me see if I can get in here and show you. I fed in power to the switch by, where the hell is this wire at? Right there. There's a red wire up here that had power to it for the front brake. We do not have a front brake switch. So I fed wire from that, power from that, into the original black wire that was down here. There was 3 wires, black, white, and blue. So I fed the power into the black, which fed in up to this switch. And then when this switch is moved to the low or high beam, it feeds it out to the white or the blue. Blue is high beam. And then after that, I just had to get a ground, which I found out was the black and white wire in the harness here. And I used one of these posi taps, which are not my favorite, but they work just fine. And I just had everything kind of just set on here. Let's check it one more time here since things are falling apart on me. All right, high beam, low beam off. Horn, left, right, brake light, tail light, all of it works. All right, so now all I got to do is clean up all that wire, finish bolting the tank down and the seat, and I'm done. Whew. If you get one of these dual sport kits, you're gonna have to do a little bit of digging around and research. The tail light was a pain. I didn't use the Tusk tail light. We used a different one on this. And the wires, even though the wiring harness and diagram is on here, it doesn't say which one of these wires is which here. So I had to do a lot of work with the multimeter to figure it out. So there's 2 black wires and a red wire, so that doesn't help any. And then the same for the front up here. I've never seen a headlight operate like that, but like I said, probably once you hook up their headlight to this system, it probably plugs right in, plug and play. So a little bit of extra work, but we got her done. Now I just gotta clean up the wire like I said, and we'll be ready to rock. And I still got one last thing, get that license plate bolted down. Nice, we'll be able to ride this thing on the street. Whew. Thank you very much for watching. Get out there and find your adventure. Adios.